Someone posted a Halloween costume for Neo, but it's like a ripoff one. It's called Cyberman.
That's me. Cyberman.
I do love that the official costumes are cheap, but then there's a step that's even lower, and it's the knockoff ones, and somehow the material is even cheaper. I really enjoy that.
Oh, boy.
This one says Cyberman or Padre. You just need to put like a cross on and hold a book and wear a hat.
Padre.
Yeah.
Who's Padre?
Yeah, who the hell? Who are we talking about?
Someone wants to be a cyber Padre.
Cyber Padre? This sounds like a rip-off Cyberpunk character now.
Hello, welcome to Dale and Pat Podcast, episode 408. I'm your host, Ryan Johnson. Tim Spence is with me today.
Through the cyber waves.
Through the cyber waves. And I got Matt Lawrence also through the cyber waves.
It is I.
The World Wide Web. The Internet.
Wait, that's it? Oh.
Coming at you, not
the
live.
Network.
Pre-recorded.
The AOL CD.
Johnny, play the AOL booting up sound.
What was it, 150 hours free with this CD?
That's so bizarre, eh? That you'd have limited access to
Not
the
really,
internet.
because you effectively were making one big ass call.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, that's right. Yep. How's everyone doing?
Yeah, it's been good. It's been a good week.
Good to
I'm
hear.
doing all right. I'm now confused about my Matrix references, though, but, you know.
Yeah, are you going to put that in the beginning, Matt? Because
Yeah, oh, hell yeah.
it's pretty stupid.
It's pretty stupid. Yeah, of course it is.
I just want, for the record, I understand that The Matrix Resurrections is a bad film, but a part of me just enjoyed being there watching it. You know?
No, you're not allowed to like things that are bad. You have to hate them,
Okay, I'm
That
sorry.
is true, Ryan.
says the
I wanted to
internet.
now come out and formally announce that I hated Morbius.
More.
Even
What?
the part where he says it's Morbin time?
No, that would have made it a 10 out of 10. If he said it's Morbin time in the movie and
How
flies
about that
off.
re-release? How about that theatrical re-release?
I saw. Give it to me. We have the butthole cut
now
of
available on
Morbius.
Prime, at least in Canada. So you can go check out Morbius. Tim, have you seen Morbius?
No.
Do you watch any of the Marvel stuff? You caught up on the Marvel stuff?
Like 50% of it.
Oh yeah, okay. I
The
feel like there's a
absolute-
fatigue growing of the Marvel stuff.
Well, I've just never been a big superhero person.
Mm,
I like Spider-Man, but that's about it.
okay.
Because I'm a normie
Whoa.
or something. I don't know.
Whoa. Okay.
Is Morbius in? Oh, yeah, I guess it is because of slight spoiler, the post-credit scene.
He's in the
Spider-Man Sony universe, I think.
what's the other one? Venom.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Tom Hardy.
He's in the Venom universe, but Venom has recently crossed over into the MCU
Right. But then,
via a after credit scene.
right.
Whoa.
But then he got sucked back into the normal Venom Morbius universe.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. He just keeps getting ripped through portals, right? It's something that keeps happening.
Well, there was a big thing that happened in the multiverse in the MCU.
Isn't that every movie? Anyway, we're getting sidetracked.
For some reason, multiverse kind of took off in the last year or two.
A little bit too much. A little bit too easy for the writers.
And now Multiverses is a game you can play.
Whoa!
true.
Apparently,
And-
the rumors are mounting that the Joker will be joining Multiverses, voiced by Mark Hamill.
He's coming back. Or
That'd be
they're
cool.
going to digitize his voice and
He's probably recorded enough lines with his Joker voice that you could make him say pretty much anything.
Yeah, it would be cool to have him back though.
Hello, Batman. I love you. Let's move in together.
That's not bad.
Ryan, do you remember when we went to see Morbius and there was a really critical death about to happen and the guy who's about to die goes like, "No, don't kill me." And right as he's saying that, someone in front of us just like,
It was the climactic emotional moment of the movie, and the guy's just yawning his ass off.
He's doing it on purpose. He's just being a dick.
I think so.
It was fucking awesome, though.
Is anyone watching this?
All right. Let's hop into the stories. I don't know how Tim is going to game anymore because Google Stadia is shutting down.
That's it. Tim's over.
What's he going to do? His Twitch career is over. I don't know.
It was so it was just kicking off so young, so new and fresh. But as it always goes, the good must always die young.
So this is from The Verge here, but I also just received an email, or actually this morning, I guess, that Google Stadia was shutting down. The service will remain live for players until January 18th, 2023. Google will be refunding all Stadia hardware purchased through the Google Store, as well as the games and add-on content purchased from the Stadia Store. Google expects those refunds will be completed in mid-January. Quote, a few years ago, we also launched a consumer gaming service, Stadia. And while Stadia's approach to streaming games for consumers was built on a strong technology foundation, it hasn't gained the traction with users that we expected. So we've made the difficult decision to begin winding down our Stadia streaming service. This was in a blog post from Phil Harrison, who is the Stadia vice president and general manager. He says that Google sees opportunities to apply Stadia's technology to other parts of Google, like YouTube, Google Play, and its AR efforts. And the company also plans to make it available to our industry partners, which aligns with with where we see the future of gaming headed. I think we all kind of saw this somewhat happening. There was also rumors of this occurring.
Although we were kind of on the side of there's no evidence. There's always the little nag in the back, like I was saying to you, Ryan, today. Like there's like that little nag in the back of your mind. So the rumors were circling that Stadia was going to die a number of months ago, and it was sort of immediately shot down as, hey, we have no actual evidence or facts, or very minimal evidence or facts.
Right, that's right.
That point to this.
It was just rumors, yeah. It was just some random people online being like, hey, Stadia's shutting down, and then people started freaking out and running with it, and then somebody actually finally decided to like Stadia on Twitter, and they were like, hey, are you shutting down? And they were like, we have no plans to shut down at this time.
Oh, that's right. Okay. And then they did.
Yeah, but this was like 2 months
Things
ago.
Changed. Yeah. I don't know how to feel about this. On one hand, it's like Google does kind of launch a lot of projects to only shut them down later. It's kind of become a joke. I think there's like a website that has a catalog.
I'm on it right now. I thought maybe we would want to look at some of them.
Of all the services that got shut down. But then you see people like, Xbox kind of pushing ahead with it. And even PlayStation adding it to their top tier of PS Plus. Amazon just entered with Luna, although I hear very little of that. So that might be shut down at some point.
A long time.
I guess it was bad when Google actually sent me like the Google Stadia like Pro package, where I got the Chromecast and the controller. They just sent it to me for free.
You know what's interesting?
Trying
actually,
to get me to play it.
Because there's the new Google Homes that are coming out, right?
Mm-hmm.
With the remote and everything. And I could have sworn in the like email that I got for that or whatever, it mentioned something about like using the remote to quickly and conveniently access like YouTube and Netflix and things. And then it said, I'm pretty sure it said gaming as well. So I wonder. Unless I'm misremembering.
GeForce Now is on, like I have the Chromecast with Google TV. It has a remote. And there is GeForce Now Stadia as of right now as well. And something else maybe.
Wait, on the remote?
Not on the remote, but you can access it with...
I thought there was a Stadia button, a dedicated Stadia button.
No, you can access Stadia as an app with the remote. And you can sideload Xbox Game Pass on there too.
So I don't know what this means for the future of streaming. Does this leave it less off? Does it make it a little more rocky? I doubt Xbox will really tell us the numbers of people who are streaming games compared to just downloading.
I mean, this is maybe one of those, like, there's a problem in tech that's always been blamed, and whether this is the answer for most of Google's problems or not is, remains to be seen, or remains to the insiders, I guess, as they've seen what's happened. But there's like this there's like this general thing that happens in tech where there's a new project that spins up and everyone's excited. So the best engineers and everyone kind of rushes to this project because this project's being funded. And they build out this project, and then the project comes out, and it's like, yay, okay, Google Stadia or whatever project it was is out. And then all their engineers want to leave because they want to jump on the next cool thing that is being funded internally. Whether this is factual or to what degree it's factual, whatever. I don't work at Google, but this is what is blamed, or what I've heard been blamed for many of the things that has been killed by Google, because many of the things that have been killed by Google, as we know, have been, for example, chatting apps. And chatting apps, they become redundant, where you have Google Hangouts, and then all of a sudden you have Allo, and then there's Duo comes out, and it's like, well, wait, like Hangouts does both of these. And then, before that, Hangouts had SMS integrated, and they wanted you to integrate SMS, and then you would integrate your SMS, and then not that long down the road, they'd be like, hey, get your SMS out of here. And it's like, what is going on here? And it's blamed on the fact that engineers aren't really building a product and then sticking with it and working with the other Google teams. It's that everyone is rushing to the latest project. And when it comes out, it's not cool anymore. It's not the big thing that's being funded as much as it was once it was being created, or when it was being created. And therefore everyone leaves. And then the teams start to like not talk as much, because you start getting talent that's just stuck around, and maybe it's not the best talent, or there's just less people on those teams that have left recently released projects, and then everything just kind of falls and collapses, and then that's it.
I don't know. Do you think the engineers have that much like power in the infrastructure? Like,
I mean,
they're the ones making all the decisions.
Like, I mean, if they're showing up, like it comes down to if this hypothetical is true, and I think it is true to an extent, because I used to hear about this all the time. Again, I don't work at Google, but let's say this is true, and there is a lot of jumping ship once a project has shipped. I mean, the management can say, hey, Stadia, make sure you keep up with the latest. And it's like, sure, but we have such a high turnover rate. How are we able to make those goals? And then it just becomes like, well, I guess that's going down the tubes. This also could lean into the fact that, say, Microsoft, right? Microsoft with Mixer, like they could have stuck with Mixer a bit longer, but they just say, and just like throw in the towel, even when it starts getting a little bit of a slight bit of traction. They just go, that's it. Like, it's over. Like, I don't care.
Well, I wonder if they have a threshold. Like, let's say, like, if we can't turn the numbers around, within, 4 quarters, let's say, maybe they're like, okay, then it's over, and they just scrap it.
That could be a thing too, right? Like that's what I mean by, this engineer thing could be one facet of it. We don't know what's happening internally. It could be like absolutely what you're saying, where there's some sort of financial deadline put on them with some sort of requirement, and it doesn't go anywhere. I mean, the thing is that if we think about the stuff that Google's kept around for a long time, like YouTube's been kept around for a long time. YouTube is vastly successful. Gmail, Google Drive, all those things. And there's obviously more examples than that, but all those things are kept alive because they're ultra successful. I mean, in the gaming sphere, Google Stadia was not ultra successful. It was not like,
right,
the YouTube of streaming content.
Well, I mean, the things that Google keeps alive are ones that help them with advertising, customer data and stuff like that. I'm not sure how gaming kind of helps them at all,
Well, the crossover, the way I saw it largely was when they showed off the crossover between YouTube and I think it was Assassin's Creed they showed off, where somebody was watching in this demo, they were watching some sort of Assassin's Creed video, and then they kind of got the inkling to say, hey, I'm going to play a little bit of Assassin's Creed, and there was a link in the video or a link around the video somewhere in the interface, and they clicked it and it just booted up right in the browser. Mm-hmm. And then they're playing the thing that they were just watching. And, sky's the limit there too. I mean, people do stream games to YouTube, even to Twitch. And if there was any sort of integration into Twitch or any sort of integration into YouTube Live, I mean, you could be like, hey, I'm watching Fortnite here. I kind of want to play around. You could quickly jump in, and that would be some data, I suppose, that YouTube.
But they never really built that out, right?
I don't recall it, but I never really used Stadia, so I'm not really sure.
I think you're right though that Stadia was more of a console than just a service, right? Because it was a completely separate thing where you had to have all your separate purchases and stuff on it. Whereas Game Pass is already a service you might want, and it's like, oh, I can stream on the side. It's an additional thing to what I'm already doing, right? And so I think the problem is they didn't there wasn't enough to force you into that streaming world, right? They shut down their game studio. They didn't make any exclusive games. How are you going to sell people on a service where it's just like, oh, play a game slightly worse than you can on every other console?
Yeah, I mean they'd have to sell the experience of it, right? The convenience. So one less box on your entertainment unit, but like they didn't lead into that at all.
I'm also not sure if the average gamer cares about that. I think that would be more for people getting into gaming, but not the gaming, audience at large. We're already used to having consoles and big old PCs sitting on our desks and stuff.
It's really one of the situations where they'd have to manufacture a problem, right? That nobody feels like they have.
Right, yeah.
Like they'd be like, oh, get rid of this box off your entertainment unit so you have more room. And it's like, for what? I've made room on it for consoles. Like what? I don't have this issue that you're claiming that we have.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who's buying very minimalistic TV shelves with no open shelving in them?
Me. I am. I play exclusively off of an end table.
I was gonna say, it sounds like you needed the Google Stadia then.
But even so, no one just has a TV on the wall. There still needs to be something just visually underneath it. Some sort of unit or shelf or table. Just having a TV on the wall and your couch like right there. It's just kind of awkward looking. Anyway.
You know what this is too, is I don't know whether this is like true, like marketers would know more, but for me, I like seeing products shown in use cases that they built it for or imagined it being used in. And then I will even be like, oh my God, like I could use that, or that is convenient, and I'll use it in that use case when I buy it, or if I buy it. And for Stadia, maybe they showed some off, and I'm sure they showed some off over the years, or when they first revealed it, like with the YouTube integration, for example, and that. But they never really showed off the convenience of the controller. I remember they gave us, because we had YouTube Premium, there was some sort of gift or whatever giveaway where they gave us the Stadia kit. I have like a sealed Stadia kit here that has like Chromecast Ultra in there, the Stadia controller in that. And you got one too, Ryan. And you were saying that you reminded me, because I completely forgot, that the controller is connected to Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
And that's how it works. And I was like, man, that's a pretty cool little innovation that
it's supposed to help reduce the lag, right?
Absolutely. And assuming it did work to that degree, which I assume it did, it's really unfortunate that wasn't shown off more, where Google didn't try to get into hotels and it was like, hey, bring your controller and you could just quickly sign in, and these hotels are Google Stadia friendly.
And see, this is what I'm talking about, like leaning into the gimmick of it, right?
Yeah. Like, and it's, and realistically, that is a use case. Like, that's a legitimate thing with hotels, where some hotels let you sign it with your Netflix and sign it with your Prime Video and stuff, and other ones still don't. And some of them want you to just use the hotel internal programming and don't even let you, say, connect something via HDMI or cast.
They should have taken more pages out of Nintendo's book. Like, Nintendo is the master of showing off all these like random use cases for their products, but you're like, yeah, 100% in that situation, I would probably do that. That's really convenient and awesome.
Exactly.
I used to play Nintendo games at hotels.
I saw a post like not that long ago on the internet where like somebody was renting a hotel room and it still had a GameCube in it.
yeah, they used to have like consoles you could access somehow.
Yeah.
It costs money, obviously, but and I always had a hard time getting my parents to let me play something on it. Like, I distinctly remember playing Mario 3
on the NES.
I don't know what it was. There was no console in the room. It was, you were accessing some hotel service somewhere. I also
had like a
F-Zero.
Nintendo Switch Online subscription, and you just
something like that.
log into it.
Yeah,
for all those rooftop parties that you're having. and you're waving at each other from your rooftop apartments.
You can't stop me from having a rooftop party. No.
And then you just bring your Switch over, because that's what normal people do when they have rooftop parties.
I mean, I would totally hold a party where we're all playing Switch on the rooftop.
If I lived in an apartment building with an accessible roof and we were allowed to go up there, hell yeah, I would do that.
Right? It doesn't sound bad, but no one actually does it.
No one does it, but it would be pretty.
Maybe they do. Maybe we're crazy.
Probably that one.
All right. Well, this is kind of a shame, I guess, but Stadia is gone.
Go Wing, but gone in January.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, will be gone. So play your games. Although Matt just shared an article that some guy has 6,000 hours in Red Dead Online on Stadia that might be lost, which is pretty insane.
Well, we confirmed, right, that it's not cross progression.
Right.
There's nowhere else that he would be able to access that save file. So, like,
unless it syncs up with the PC, which I feel like it probably does not.
I doubt it. Yeah.
Or unless they can make it do that, like if Rockstar makes because I know we mentioned it before that when we went from the 360 where GTA 5 launched and went over to the Xbox One or PC or wherever we all ended up after the 360 era, they let you transfer the character over, including
so
over
niche,
over from like Xbox to PlayStation. So I mean, I don't really see them doing it, especially when Red Dead Online is losing or has lost support. So.
Tim,
what's your relationship with streaming? Have you tried it at all? Have you?
No, I haven't done any game streaming. I remember when the original Stadia announcement, like when they first announced that Stadia was going to be a thing, I was like, this might legitimately be the future of gaming. Like, if it's all cloud based, then nobody needs a console anymore or a PC. And I also wondered, because we were talking about this when I was streaming this week when the news dropped that Stadia was on the way out, and I was like spitballing some conspiracy theories. I was like, maybe they were being lobbied by like, these graphics card companies or whatever, or any of these PC companies, like PC part companies or consoles that stand to gain a lot of money by their parts still being necessary. And if Google comes out with these like cloud-based streaming services where the consumer only needs a controller and an internet connection, then think about how much money people aren't spending every year on PC parts, right? We were just talking about this before the show, but how much money we like spend on PC parts. And like, if they stand to lose tens of millions of dollars a year because of this technology that Google is trying to like implement, maybe they got lobbied out of it, But at the same time, Google said on their end that they didn't see the interest in the service that they thought they would.
Yeah.
And that was a part of them shutting down. So,
but I mean, Google would have to buy graphics cards to run the games on their servers, though.
They would, but they're not going to have to buy as many as all of the consumers would buy.
I don't know. That's a good question. I'm not
sure. The profit margin would be down too, because Google would want a bulk. I would assume Google would want a bulk discount. Be like, hey, I'm buying not one, I'm buying like five crates.
I'm buying 6,000 graphics cards from you. I would like a deal.
Well, I'm wondering how Xbox looks at this. Do they say, "Oh, good, less competition," or do they say, "Oh no, not a lot of interest in this streaming thing"?
Well, this becomes like the problem where they could like you were mentioning, for example, Ryan, that the streaming in the PlayStation sphere and in the Xbox sphere with Game Pass Ultimate is like an add-on. And it's like, realistically, Google could have tried to, if they cared, they could have changed what Stadia was. They could have realistically gone in and said, okay, we're going to try to make it so that Stadia is still streaming first, but maybe our games will run on, and maybe this is like way too big of an undertaking, but like maybe our games will run on SteamOS or something. Or when you buy something on Stadia, you get it on Steam, or vice versa. GeForce Now is an example of if GeForce Now has it, and you've purchased it on Steam, you can just play it on GeForce Now.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that GeForce Now makes money for the most part, or even exclusively, I've only used it very briefly myself, is that you have to wait in a queue and you can pay for better hardware, better queue times, those type of things. So you're paying for using the service, but you're just using your Steam library.
Right.
So you're not there's ways that these companies have survived, like we said before, Xbox, PlayStation are value adds in addition to other services. GeForce Now is effectively an add-on to Steam, which allows people to use like vast libraries, not everything, of course, but vast libraries that they've already purchased. And then it's like, hey, everybody, I know that you've been invested in one of these platforms potentially for over a decade. Come on over to Google Stadia, where we absolutely kill products all the time. You know, it's kind of like
track record.
It's kind of like, you know, like I just went, like I'm on Killed by Google here. And if my count is correct, if you include 2022 and then obviously upcoming 2023 confirmed kills, I think we're at 16 products. Products, services, all that type of stuff. There's like a mix. It's like, it's a lot. Like, it's a lot of products. And obviously, like, a lot of these I didn't even know existed or forgot existed. So like Google's in, like, doing a lot of things. But this is very reminiscent, I would say. I don't really know exactly why this shut down, but it feels the same as YouTube gaming, where gaming on YouTube in general, gaming content started really taking off. So they were like, hey, we're going to make like a dedicated gaming app. And they made it. And like, I used it a couple times and I just kind of really didn't get it. And I was like, this doesn't.
There was no point when YouTube existed.
That's the thing. It's like, why would I go to, like, why would I, it'd be like opening a separate texting app for each contact I have. Like, why?
They could just put a gaming section in the YouTube app.
Right. Like, and then sure, if you want to have a different subdomain on the website or whatever, that's fine. But like, even then they could have had a value add there where I think probably YouTube Red was out maybe at the time, but they could have did cool things in the YouTube gaming app. Like, hey, we're going to have coupons in here for Steam games, or, you know, Google/YouTube is big enough to partner with other studios and say, hey, like, we're pretty, you know, we have a lot of eyes looking at our videos and all of our creators. Like, can you get our creators more sponsorships? Can we get coupons for people that are using the new Google or the new YouTube gaming app? It just doesn't, it feels like a half-ass effort sometimes. It's almost like it's almost like they put something out, and if it's not immediately massive and successful, the effort's gone. And it's like, well, I guess we're closing this. They bought that company that was running, was it Google Spaces, Ryan?
Yeah.
They bought that. There was like a little social media platform in which you had little groups where you would share things on sort of like a Facebook wall. And like, Ryan, you had tons of them. You had like a Star Wars one, like a gaming one, this and that. You could share like pictures and have little chats in there. We used it for a little bit. Google bought that company that made that and then closed the project down, I think less than a year later. They shut the whole damn project down. Oh, this wasn't super successful, so we decided to close it down. It's like, I understand the need to close things down. You don't want to have dead weight if something's not working, but maybe you should try a little bit longer and a little bit harder to see if it's going to work.
All right, let's move on. Skull and Bones delayed for a fifth time.
Yep.
That ain't good.
This is from IGN. Ubisoft has given a new release date of March 9th, 2023, allowing Skull and Bones to sneak in just ahead of the end of its financial year. The publisher explained in the release that while game development is finished at this stage, the extra 4 months will be used for further polish and balance the experience, following technical tests and insider program feedback from prior closed betas. Skull and Bones' development has been tumultuous. It was first revealed back in E3 2017, appearing at the time to be a riff on the naval combat in Assassin's Creed Black Flag. At the time, it was set to come out in the fall of 2018 and focused on prior-gen consoles. Its first delay was announced the following year, pushing Skull and Bones back to 2019-2020, when it didn't surface for some time after reports suggesting that it had been quietly rebooted. It was delayed a second time to 2020, and then again to 2021. And now we're 2023. That's 6 years? So 6 years since they announced the game?
2018 to 2023 is about 5 years.
Yeah. So,
Not the longest
no,
game that's ever taken.
but sometimes when games have this kind of crazy roller coaster of a development cycle, the game that
never a
comes
good
out the other
sign.
end is not pretty.
Yeah.
So,
No, I just saw today actually a story about how Duke Nukem Forever is actually no longer the top game for being delayed.
mhm.
Oh no.
Duke Nukem Forever was originally announced in 1997, and
Oh
it
my
came
Lord.
out in 2011, I think, after,
Yeah.
was it like 5,196 days or something like that. The new record holder at over 5,200 days is Beyond Good and Evil 2.
Oh wow. When did they announce that?
I forgot about that.
It would be,
Over 13, 14 years ago?
yeah, yeah, over 14 years. So early 2000s.
That's
Mid-
crazy.
Wait,
we
is
just
that-
saw a
is that
trailer
real?
for it a few years ago.
What do you mean, is it real?
I thought you guys were joking about the 14 years. Is that real?
It
Well,
it would have to be. Yeah.
If Duke Nukem was 97 to 2011,
Oh my god.
Yeah. It'd be 14, 15 years. Do the math. Someone who's good at math, do the math. I can't do the math.
I'm just looking it up here. It says Beyond Good and Evil 2 was officially announced in 2017 at E3. This is according to an IGN article.
That seems
that was when they announced it, and then they had a trailer like either that year or the year after.
That might be, when they say announced in 2017, that might be the trailer. I think the original work was announced a long time ago.
According to Wikipedia, it says the sequel was teased at UB Days 2008.
There it is. 2008.
That's Fallout 3. Fallout 3 came out in 2008.
Yep. Fallout 3, Assassin's Creed 1.
Oh
the
my
first
God.
Mass Effect.
Way.
Yeah.
Now I'm all for game delays that are like gonna like help the game out, whatever. But I think I was telling these guys like I think I'm out. I think I'm done with Skull and Bones. The hype is gone, and I don't care. Not that anyone else cares that I don't
there
care.
hype? Was there
Yeah,
ever hype?
I haven't really cared. I mean, there was hype at first. Like when I saw this,
What, the
like
trailer
sort
happened?
of more realistic, more gritty style, like competitive pirate game, I was like, this looks sick. I loved the pirate, like the ship stuff in Assassin's Creed 3 and in Black Flag. I was so
Mhm.
into it. I was down for it. And I haven't really thought about that game in like 2 years. It's like fully dead to me,
Oh,
unfortunately.
I mean, I guess the next thing to wait for is the reviews, but I wonder if they should put this on Game Pass. I know that sounds kind of mean, but maybe
It
that
is
actually
kind of
helped
the
it.
like safety net of the gaming industry, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just like get bought by Microsoft so that you can just have it on Game Pass. Or not
Mhm.
bought, but like, shielded by
Well,
Microsoft.
Yeah, the way I think, at least by the way that I think PlayStation kind of hinted at it working, or there was reports of some game wasn't very happy with their appearance on Game Pass or something. It's like an upfront one-time payment, I think, right?
Is it?
I think we reported to some developers saying they weren't happy with it. They thought it ruined their PS Plus. It was something with PS Plus.
Oh,
That
that
they
was
decided to-
that was Abe.
Oddworld.
That's it. Oddworld. That's it. Oddworld.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
Abe's Odyssey.
Yeah, he was saying that he wished he didn't take the upfront cash payment because then, millions of people then have access to your game without paying full retail price. And
Yeah.
he's left there sitting with the $50,000 or whatever it is.
He's like, wait, this wasn't worth it. Hang on a second.
Yeah,
Just didn't do the math at first.
So that can really kind of suck.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is like a little unfortunate. What the most unfortunate thing about this is that this game kind of disappeared for like quite a while, and they just did a huge event for it. And I almost feel as though the event was a mistake because it seemed so absolute and so we're ready to go, because this wasn't an event 2 years out or something. This was an event a number of months out. Like, hey, this is coming out. We know we've been silent for a while. Here's a huge gameplay demo. Here's some insider tests and closed betas and all this stuff. Here's a huge presentation focused on this game. Bunch of gameplay, a stream after. It's like, oh, okay, this game's done, minus the polishing. And now it's like, oh, well, we need polish in that. Now, I will say that they mentioned that, they want to do some polish following the technical tests and insider program feedback and closed betas. So maybe
that's a long time, though. 4 months.
Well, what I was going to say is like, I wonder if the players that played it found something fundamentally wrong. Maybe something's really fucked up with the economy. And it's more so a question of like, okay, we have to really change how this game runs.
Well, I don't know much about game development either. I'm not sure what's possible in 4 months,
Yeah,
is
like, is this 4 months of, is this going to be like really, well, I don't know where Ubisoft sits in the whole crunch time thing. I feel like they've had a good track record. I don't know if that's true, but
I think a lot of studios kind of are victim of it. But they also had their other issues with abuse allegations.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about those, like last year, I think, but
they said polishing and balancing, right? So like, balance you can do just in perpetuity. The polish is the part that gets me about needing so much time. And like, yeah, again, we don't have that insider info on, like, none of us are game devs. And I think kind of people recognize that the two things that you'll never have enough of when developing a technology are time and money.
Right.
But yeah, like, I don't know. It seems excessive. Maybe especially after it's been delayed and delayed and delayed, it just makes me think that it's really not a good product,
Mm-hmm. Speaking of announcements coming like really soon, Cyberpunk, remember that?
Yeah, man, I'm playing it right now.
I think it was 7. What? I think it was like 7 years from announcement, something like that. However, they weren't working on it like the entire time.
Yeah, The Witcher 3 came out in that time.
Yeah. And it's more popular than ever now, which is crazy.
Mm-hmm. I mean, when you have a full full anime, like,
have you watched that? Are you gonna watch it?
I've been watching it. Yeah, we're on episode 5, cool. But it's better than I thought it would be. I was kind of harsh on it in the beginning because it kind of fell back on a lot of like anime tropes.
Yeah,
but it's getting more interesting the more it goes on.
Oh, cool.
So I recommend it.
All right. Final story for the week. Last of Us teaser. Finally came out. Finally got actual a little more than just like some quick shots or screenshots or something like that, or just on-set photos. I don't think I got Matt's opinion yet. Matt, what did you think of this?
I think you texted out the link to it, and I said that I didn't really know much about The Last of Us, so I can't really comment on the dialogue too much and stuff, but it looked like what I remember the very first game looking like. The aesthetic seemed to be spot on, for at least from my memory of the PS3 original game.
Well, I wanted to comment on that because I've been watching a lot of people react to it, and I just wanted to know what they're thinking. And a lot of people are saying it looks like the game, and I'm wondering, is that a good thing?
I don't know that it really does look like the game. I haven't played it in a while, but like the environments, like you say, it looks like the world. Like the world looks right with the aesthetic.
I think that's what they're referring to. The characters don't look like the characters necessarily.
No,
but the world looks like The Last of Us.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's
just overgrown buildings. I mean,
I think that's the part that you need to nail, though, with The Last of Us. Like, it's all about the environment. Yeah. I would say that, like, one of the best characters of The Last of Us is the world in which it takes place.
Mm-hmm.
Which is saying something when a lot of those characters are real power players in that game. But I think that it seems like it's going in the right amount of different direction, if that makes sense. Like, a lot of the time they get these adaptations where they don't want to just recreate the same thing, right? Like, we've seen the story that happens in the game. We already know how that goes. So the show has to be like at least a little bit different or at least fairly different in a number of ways. And it it seems like they're going to do that. We haven't been given much, but what we've been given seems right.
But Matt, as someone who's like, not a big fan of The Last of Us or anything, did the show entice you? Like, would you watch this show?
I don't know if it would, but I'll say this is that, like, I was a huge fan of The Lord of the Rings, and I was not going to watch the Lord of the Rings show. And then a friend showed me the first episode, and then I've stuck with it, but I haven't been glued to my screen or anything. So I don't know whether I'm the right target for shows like this necessarily. Not that like the show looks bad or anything, or I think it's going to be bad. It's just, I don't know. I don't know that I need to see every single license that I've played or worked with or like gone through, whatever, read or whatever. I don't think I need to see it go across different, like, I played this video game and now it's a movie, and I watched this movie and now it's a TV show, and I watched this movie and now it's a game. It's a lot. It's a lot of content. There's a lot of content out there. And so I'm not going to be I don't want to be like, oh my God, this looks so good, I'm going to go watch this.
I do find it funny that the trailer there's very little dialogue in it, and none of it is from Joel or Ellie. I believe the dialogue is from Tess.
I think there is. I remember there being something from Tess, yes.
Yeah. But I just think it's funny that we haven't even heard them talk yet. But this is just a teaser. The full trailer will come out at some point. And that'll be interesting to see. I wasn't so hot on it when the first time I watched it, but I've watched it a couple times after, and I'm more happy with it now, I think. So,
but would you watch this even if the teaser was very bad, in your opinion?
Yeah, just being a fan of it, I'd watch it regardless. Yeah.
So that's I find that interesting. There's too many damn licenses now. It's getting out of hand. Like I really like playing Prototype 2, but like if there was a Prototype 2 movie, I would be like,
oh God,
I'd be like, okay, whatever, man. Like we're not gonna do that. I mean, I used to be a huge fan of Assassin's Creed, and there was an Assassin's Creed movie, and I went to see that with you guys, and yeah,
yeah, new show's coming out on Netflix now, right?
Something. I know there's some sort of project being made, but I don't know what it is. It's just. It's like I experienced it. Like I went through it. I experienced it.
Had enough.
I don't need to see it everywhere.
I think that was Adriano's position too, right? Because he was talking about like the Guardians of the Galaxy game. He's like, I have the Guardians movies that I like. I don't need an additional Guardians thing,
Yeah,
you kind of get your satisfaction out of the one medium, I guess.
It's like the Fallout show that's pending from Amazon as well, I believe. We've seen a couple of pictures, some stills of the sets and stuff, and it looks cool. And I'm pretty sure it's Amazon, and I'm a really big fan of Fallout, big enough that I would be enticed absolutely to watch the trailer and the teaser and this and that. But I don't know necessarily that I'll watch it right away. I might. But like, it's like I have the video games. Like I've done the video games. I've gone through them. If I have a Fallout fix, it's like I'm yearning or whatever for the video game. I'm not being like, man, like I really wish there was a show about this.
Yeah, that's a weird one. Cause like I can understand why there would be demand for a Last of Us TV show. Cause it's a world that's definitely very fleshed out. It's a very narrative driven. So, like, clearly the popularity of the game leans more on the story that it tells rather than the gameplay itself. Like, nobody goes, "Oh man, I love playing Last of Us. It was so fun to play through. The gunplay in Last of Us is so good."
Most people criticize the gameplay.
Yeah, nobody cares about the gameplay. They care about the story and the characters, right? So it makes sense that in that sort of situation that there would be demand for something like that. But like, why is there demand for a Fallout show? Just because it's a popular IP? Like, who cares about the stories in Fallout?
I don't think it's the story. I think it's the universe, right? It's just seeing that universe in live action would be fun, I think.
But I would like to see, I would just like another game, another map in 76, another area to explore in Fallout 4 if it was still relevant, and like another DLC. It's like, that's where Fallout exists for me. Like I run around and make stupid choices and role play as an idiot.
Make
and then
mistakes,
that's it.
get messy.
Yeah.
I think there's a human need to see humans doing it.
I'm sorry. What was that?
Yeah,
Can you say that again?
Acting.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean, though? I think there's just people who want to see, something that isn't live action.
Do people want to see that, or do studios want to make money?
Well, I mean, obviously they want to make money, but I am not opposed to taking something from one medium and putting it in another. I think
I'm not saying that's always the wrong choice. I'm just saying, like, why, Fallout in particular,
Yeah. I think the trouble is always that, comic books are still single framed images. So making that live action is exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Video games are already moving pictures.
Yeah.
You're already seeing action being performed on screen. And so I think that's what makes the jump kind of harder to like get excited for a movie. You could effectively
film a movie in the game. If you just did some tweaks to the engine and had camera work, you could literally make a movie in the game.
Wasn't there a Final Fantasy thing that was like, it was just in-game generated or something?
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. Remember, but yeah, that's definitely been done. I remember as a kid seeing all the cutscenes. Yeah, I remember as a kid seeing all the like stuff that Blizzard would do with their cutscenes. Like even way back, like their cinematics department was always insane. And I remember particularly watching the announcement trailer for Wrath of the Lich King expansion for World of Warcraft, and seeing that animated like promo cutscene and being like, if they did a feature length movie of this, that would be sick.
It's about time.
They've never done it. I'm really surprised they still haven't done it, because lots of people have been asking for it for a long time.
Same with Overwatch too.
Yeah, Overwatch would be easier. Yeah,
it's like compares them to Pixar movies.
Yeah, the Pixar style, right?
All right. Well, I'm excited, and I think that's just Last of Us fans. I think will be excited.
I'm looking forward to it. I know Kayla's looking forward to it too. She saw the trailer before I did.
Oh yeah, she liked it, or what's their thoughts?
I mean, yeah, she's not super vocal or critical about that stuff. It's an IP that she sees and likes. She's keen on it. Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to what we're playing. Matt, what are you playing?
Me? What the hell?
We could go to Adriano, but he's not here.
Oh.
No, I've been continuing a little bit, not too much this week, but a little bit of the Prototype 2 still. Working away, unlocked that new region last week. So I've been chipping away at getting the collectibles and the side activities done, because they give you like a lot of rewards, very powerful power-ups and rewards and mutations and all this kind of thing. So
I love that. I love when a game makes the side content worth doing, instead of just this minor increase or collect these collectibles for a trophy, like give me some incentive to do it.
Absolutely. It's like I could see myself leveling up, because before I started paying attention to the side activities, I would only do them as I came across them. And then the one day I like looked them up and was like, oh, like, what do I get for doing this? And it's like, whoa, I get like this one's 30% more powerful, 15% more powerful, this and that in various ways. And it made me realize like I would go and do the side content and become really powerful, not from quote unquote like leveling up because I've killed a bunch of guys with XP or whatever, but just because it's like, hey, you've completed all the black boxes, for example, found them all in this region. Here's a power up that's this much. And it is like a true power up. It feels way better in the story missions. And I was doing fine in the story missions. I'd fail here and there, of course, but now I'm just like a god running around. Like I said before, this game has no qualms with making you super powerful, but this area that I'm in, the red zone, is particularly dangerous. It is from the first game, so there's a reason behind that, story reason behind that. It's a total hellhole, and so I thought, I better actually prepare. And even though I am just running around finding black boxes, doing it's called like BlackNet missions or something like that, where you find these little terminals. You have to be like disguised. You find these little terminals. You get some intel, and then it'll be like, hey, like you got to go do this mission. You got to go kill this person. You got to do this or whatever. So there's, it's like a rotating kind of standard set of open world activities, collectibles, finding missions that are in progress and taking them out, doing this, the blacknet terminals and this and that. But the reward is well worth it and doesn't make it boring, which is nice. And you get to explore the world a little bit, which is cool as well. It makes you really realize that the districts are a lot different when you do that. So it kind of makes their environment refreshing. So I'm just working on that part right now. The red zone's rather large, actually. And the buildings are very large. Like, I believe it's Manhattan. And so the buildings are like really tall, and you're kind of flying, but you're not super fast in this game. So I'm kind of working on getting my mobility up and stuff like that to make it just a little more manageable in this region that I'm in. But definitely nearing the end. I'm in that last section of the map, like I said. Other than that, I've been playing the Fortnite and kicking ass. I had like a really long session on the one, I think it was maybe a Saturday or something like that. And won 10 games that day, which is pretty fucking wild.
Do you play build or no build?
No build, yeah.
Okay.
I'm good with either. I'm good with either, but no one else seems to want to build, so I mean that's fine.
Building sucks.
Oh.
I learned it, so I'm fine with either, but no, it's pretty fun. Like, Fortnite's doing really well. I'm past a third done the season, and it's week 1. There's been 2 weeks of quests. Week 0 was the first, week 1 now. So I'm flying through the season pass already, which is cool. I got one of the skins that I wanted, which is the little anime bear inside of, like, I don't know, like a bigger bear thing that's all glowy.
All the way down.
It's pretty weird. It's almost like the shield juice or whatever, but like in gelatin form. It's pretty weird. But that's why I liked it. So I got that skin and just chipping away at that. But also a little bit of Outriders. Trying to get a friend through the game, leveling him up so that we're able to do the final raid a little easier. So there's, it's max 3 players, and this will be like the 4th, but it'll just like raise the chances of 3 of us being online at some point, and we can go through the final raid because we have not done that yet. So I'm just kind of getting him through the game, getting him to the end game, and then I'm sure he'll run with it to some extent, and kind of we'll end up meeting up and killing the raid. So that's pretty cool, and that's been my week.
Tim, what about you?
Just like last week, I played Cyberpunk all week on stream.
Yeah.
Really enjoying it, honestly, like more than I thought I would. And it's interesting because a lot of it's been popping off, obviously, like we mentioned about the anime Edgerunners coming out on Netflix as well. A big update happened recently, I think maybe a month ago, that helped with stability, added some new things to the game. The game seemed more stable in like the beginning. I'm definitely encountering more kind of bugs and glitches more frequently now. Nothing major. Usually it's just like enemy or NPC AI kind of bugging out. Like there's a pretty common one I think that happens with people where you do the like street races with Claire, who's the bartender in Afterlife. And when you get to the finish line, a lot of the time, the other racers of the race will not stop for the finish line. And the finish line is not like, just a line on the road and then they can keep going. It's like, it's a point on the map. And then, maybe another, say like 200 feet beyond that point, there's kind of a half circle of like people kind of standing around, and there are cars kind of parked in sort of a semicircle area. So then, you hit the finish line, and then Claire's usually like, okay, keep driving forward and pull up and stop in the crowd. But the other drivers won't stop. They'll slow down, but they'll just kind of keep driving, and then they'll just like coast through the crowd. And maybe, sometimes they knock people over or run them over, or they'll knock cars out of the way, and then they just keep driving off into the distance. And it's pretty, it's pretty destructive some of the time. Like one of the first race ends at the end of a pier. And then you pull up and you stop, and then you're just there. And then you're just kind of looking around, and then you hear like crashing, and you turn around and look, and one of the cars is just driven off the end of the pier. And like people are like, oh my God, and running away. And, like It's amazing, but it's also like, man, I can't believe this long after the game's release, they still haven't managed to figure out how to stop stuff like that from happening.
Unless that was low on the priority list of fixes.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, a game like that, it's a miracle that games even like run. If you really look at like how everything that's involved in a game, like it's so many plates spinning all at once. It's a miracle that games work at all, let alone like, you know, have like getting them to work is one thing, then having them feel good, play good, and just are generally fun is like a whole other thing to tackle. But anyway, it's been really good though. I really enjoy the stories. I like the way that you can sort of move your way through the main story depending on just like who you interact with. The side stuff, like I mentioned before, having it be like worth doing is always satisfying as well. I like how like Johnny Silverhand can just appear at random points and sort of give his 2 cents about a situation, and you can like choose to interact with him or ignore him or whatever. It's a lot of the conversations happen that way. They feel very like organic and stuff. That's a good character for the game because even if the game's glitching out, you won't be sure if it's just like the way that it's supposed to look for Johnny because he's technically not there, or if it's the game fucking up. So they get a pass with him. But yeah, like it's been really great to see that everybody's like a fan of it, you know, now.
Yeah.
Because obviously for me, like it's good because it brings in a lot of new people to take a look at, like see what I'm doing in the game and stuff. But I just like when games kind of redeem themselves a little bit, you know, like Fallout New Vegas kind of redeemed itself. No Man's Sky absolutely redeemed itself.
Huge.
And Cyberpunk is now kind of in its renaissance period, right? Where it's been given a second wind and people are fans of the game again. And it's getting lots of support, lots of updates. There's new DLC coming out at some point, I guess, in the near future. Yeah, it's a good time. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, that's pretty much it for Cyberpunk. And then just kind of in my own time, I've been plucking away at a couple of Elden Ring save files because I wanted to get all the achievements in Elden Ring, which I did do last week. And there's still a couple of different builds that I want to try out. And it was funny because it coincided with a pretty popular YouTuber that has made a lot of Elden Ring content that made a video on his like 3 or 4 favorite builds that he's ever made in Elden Ring. And a lot of them are very creative. Like they kind of start around a base concept and then he just sort of works outwards from that. Like what synergizes well? What can I do to boost this or help the utility of this or that kind of thing? Or he'll just start with like, this weapon has a particularly like unique ability. How do I build a character around it? And, it's really cool. And that's my absolute like favorite thing about Elden Ring is just like, you have that freedom to just like, have like an idea, a concept like that, and then just work outwards from it. And it's all very like, it's possible, I guess, is the thing. Where it's something like Dark Souls, it's like, you're pretty much locked into a couple of styles of play. But with Elden Ring, it's just like, you know, there's so much to play with. And that's why I'm really excited for DLC, because I really want to see what other new features or functionality they add to the game.
Nice. As for myself, I think this is a momentous occasion. I am not going to get the battle pass for the next season of Diablo Immortal.
Oh my god, finally.
Because you did not get to the end of this other battle pass?
No, I did.
Via paying,
and now I'm done. I don't care too much for the new skin in the next season, and I'm just scraping by now, whereas before I had some time. But once I start scraping by, it's like, okay, I'm losing interest in this game, obviously, and the end game becomes one of those things where it's very hard to play alone, and I don't want to join with randoms and talk with them and have them demand me show up at Thursdays at 8 p.m. and make sure my character is leveled and I got good gear. And it's just like I I want to be that kind of gamer, but I can't. I just can't do it, you know?
Well, it sucks
So.
too because it's like they're going to put their time in and it's kind of like a group thing, right? It's kind of like if we were all like, hey, we're going to go rock climbing and then you show up and you're the only one that didn't bring the equipment. And then it's all like, well, I guess we're not fucking rock climbing then, you know? It becomes like a weird social situation.
I've thought about it. I've always said I'm not a technical gamer. I'm not looking at the numbers and trying to find the best combination of abilities, you know, to pair up and stuff. And I've kind of just been thinking about maybe I just need to find, like, I'm always looking for an MMO to play, right? Maybe I should just jump in. You know, there's people constantly recruiting. Maybe I should just jump in and have, you know, go through like a training with them. See if they can help me get to that kind of level. Because right now I just don't care for that kind of stuff.
But we've been there with Outriders. We've been there with.
But my guy sucks in Outriders.
No, but that's the thing though, is like you could have got all the training from me and Alex. But you didn't. So are you really going to go it sounds like you just don't want to do it is what I'm saying. Are you really going to go and do that with randoms where they're going to be like, yo man, like you're going to have to do this, get this helmet. And that helmet has a 0.2% drop chance, but you need it. So go do that for 400 hours and I'll talk to you when you get it.
Yeah, that's what I want.
I want
someone to tell me the build to make.
No, but we had that in Outriders. We had it in Outriders, and you didn't want to do it.
Well, let's go do it.
Like, we already tried.
Although to be fair, Outriders is not. I don't think it's going to last that long, right? So you're going to invest a lot of time into it, and then it'll just be over.
But Outriders is not, for example, it's not the most complex game. There's not a whole crap load of skills and this and that. It has a lot of content for what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Let's put it that way. But there's very much like a few builds for each class that are, let's say, viable. And, you know, I'm sure there's variances of them and blah, 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 whatever. But it's pretty simplistic. It'll, like, the people that make the guides will literally say, here's the skill tree, and you can reset anytime for free, if memory serves, and you can just change to those skills right away. Yeah. And then you can just immediately start buying / farming for that gear.
Mm-hmm.
And then making sure that you have those mods available so that you can flip the mods in. And then you can min-max yourself with attributes if you want. And that's it. But like what I'm saying is that with a game, not to say that Outriders are super simplistic, but like with a game that simplistic in comparison to an MMO that's been around for God knows how long, with God knows how many mechanics, like are you like if you didn't want to do it in Outriders, I feel like you're not going to want to do it in World of Warcraft or you know whatever.
It's an aspiration though.
Or is it just something that you aspire to because it's something to aspire to, even though you know you'll never do it?
Yes, that's correct. That one.
Okay.
Jesus Christ.
My problem is I'm not playing games to turn it into a job where I need to be figuring out the best way to accomplish tasks and all that. I just want to be... It's more of a fantasy thing to me. I want to be a super powerful wizard just blowing away creatures. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
That's kind of what I'm looking for in games. And I think that's the biggest issue I have, is I don't want to feel like a freaking douchebag. You know, trying to...
So you want more PvE.
Character sucks. Yeah.
There's certainly challenging PvE, like, no doubt. But you're more comfortable with PvE than PvP, or like hardcore PvE are really difficult.
Yeah, my favorite part of the Fallout games is when you reach that point where you're not afraid of anything. Mm-hmm. You know, where you just walk into any room and you just blast things away, and it's fantastic. I love doing that, you know. And I don't mind the build up in those kind of games, like single player RPGs. I don't really have a problem with, particularly if you go with like the base kind of like warrior class or whatever. Those are usually pretty easy to get a handle on. But MMOs definitely you gotta know what you're doing, I think, sometimes.
You also never really hit that point in an MMO, like where it's satisfying, unless you go back to like the beginning areas where you're fighting level 5 creatures and you're level 100, and it's just like, well, this isn't fun. It's just like maybe it's a bit of a vengeance.
I'm just pressing 1 and then 2 on my keyboard. And then
Oh man, you ever mix a little 3 in there every once in a while?
Every now and then, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Ooh, feeling spicy.
Other than that, not too much. Just the Fortnite. Slowing down on the 76 too. I think this will be my last season of 76 since the pit did not bring back Marty and Matt. So
oh man, it's so good in Fallout 3 though.
And that's about it for me. Yeah. All right. Thanks for listening, folks. Tim?
Yes, sir. If you're keen,
the good folks find you
on Cyberpunk, I've been having a really good, enjoyable first playthrough, and I think that you would enjoy it too if you want to check it out at twitch.tv/thesidetrack, where things have been pretty fucking. The vibes have been immaculate.
Oh yeah.
In the last little bit, and I'm excited to see what more Cyberpunk has to offer. I'm probably going to be playing it for a while because I do tend to not go 100% completionist, but I do tend to try to do a lot of what I can do at any given time. So
you heard it, folks. 100% completion
is not happening.
Is happening on twitch.tv.
No, not mine.
Yeah, that figures.
That's a broken link. Twitch.tv/thesidetrack. And we've gotten back into State of Decay 2 on Wednesday nights at twitch.tv/day1patchmedia.
That's been a lot of fun, actually.
Yeah,
I don't know why, but it's been really enjoyable.
It's
it's
one of those.
The first time we played, I was laughing my ass off at that stupid zombie making that sound, stuck in that shipping container. God damn.
Yeah, it was like yelling. It was yelling. We're like, why isn't this place secure? And then you just hear like he's like halfway across the location. He's like halfway across the site. He's stuck inside one end of a shipping container, half in the ground. And he's just like, yeah. He's just screaming at us. Yeah, no, that's a good game. I forgot how much I enjoy that game. It's such a it's almost a comfy game, you know? Because it's not like we're playing on super hard difficulty or anything. It's almost comfy to go out and we, collect some materials. We come back, we find some new people. Sometimes they have some new skills that we can use to make our base a little bit better. And then
I died.
And then you died. And then you came back in the middle of the fight with a different character. It's one of those games where it's comfy until suddenly one thing happens and then shit hits the fan and then it's instantly crazy.
Well, our big mistake was trying to take out those what are those things called?
Oh, the plague hearts.
The plague hearts with melee weapons instead of explosives.
I mean, we walk in and then it just goes like it's just this puff of smoke and then suddenly all of our health is going and we're like, my guy's dying. I have severe trauma. I'm tired. I've got a broken leg. I'm missing a chunk of flesh. What happened?
Yeah.
Well, our car was all beat to shit too. Our poor truck.
That thing had its doors ripped off a number of times, yeah. Catch all that and more at twitch.tv/day1patchmedia. Wednesday evenings, usually. EST, 8:30-ish, 9-ish.
Yeah.
It's a good time.
Thanks for listening, folks.
See you next time.
Peace.